Hello everyone. Um, I've been wanting to do a video for a few years now on my sort of CD slash vinyl collection, and I saw Rob do this the other day, and I figured, well, better time than never. For full transparency, my vinyls have been in storage for about 8 months now, so I've just brung them all downstairs, and you know, they're completely out of order in some respects. Some things are still together. I've tried my best, but I sort of decided halfway through that, this may be a bit more interesting if you don't know what artist is to come, really. So, they're sort of, some are sequenced alphabetical, it's just how I put them in storage, but they all play fine from what I know. I can't imagine, because, I had them stacked vertically, so not sort of horizontally up on each other that they are in that state right now. If they were stacked like that for months, they would probably warp and not play well, but from what I know, everything plays fine. But I'm going to start with CD and one cassette, and also a lot of my CD albums I did eventually purchase on vinyl later, but not for all of them. And there's quite a few CDs that I picked up a few months ago that I think are sort of near the top of my list here. So yeah, we'll start with the one cassette I have, and also I'm just going to try and explain a bit of history of everything. If I can remember where I brought it, which might not always be the case, but try and explain where I brought it, and also sort of explain what I think of the album, and you know, you'll get the idea when we do it. First off, the one cassette. This is Sleep Tokens Take Me Back to Eden. Probably won't know this unless you've heard the album or looked into it. For the record, I do not have a cassette player. But this is the awfully titled Vor edition. There's a song on the album called Vor, and for the cassette release, they released every sort of what's the best way to put it? They released a version of the album on cassette with individual artwork that I suppose is meant to represent a song on the album, and this was about £10, and I thought it was really funny that they decided to call it Vor, and I suppose that's the character. It comes with, if I can get this out, comes with a playing card. So, if you wanted a playing card, I guess, collects them all, collect all the Sleep Token, Take Me Back to Eden cassette editions. This album is terrible. It's not good. And, it was a big in-joke with a lot of friends for a while, just about how shit this band is. But yeah, I own that, I guess. I kind of wish I didn't, but... Next up, something that I kind of brought on a whim because I thought it was really interesting. This is Ocean Size's Music for Nurses EP, but this is the promotional disc. So this only has One Out of None and has the Smoke Clears on it, which are the opening and closing tracks. This is probably my favourite EP of all time. I don't own it on CD or vinyl when it's full release, but this was really cheap, and I thought it'd be nice to sort of say I own it, but I don't own it. It's just interesting to have, I suppose. Next up, we've got one that I think is actually really cool as well. This is, if I just get it out of this thing, this is Untitled Album 1, or UAI, or UA1, whatever, by Atka. They are a German, I guess the best way to describe it is grindcore band, and, it's some of the best metal I've ever heard, especially that last track. That last track is brilliant. I found out about this because, like most of my music, I found out through Clone Hero. And, I still play this quite a lot whenever I've got my CD player out, because it's just excellent. I've listened to a decent chunk of grindcore now, like, Discordance Axis and Asterisk, which are a Swedish grindcore band from, I think it's the late 90s, and Discordance Axis are from America, the late 90s as well. But I've not heard anything that sort of embraces the chaos and makes it into, it's just excellent project. And you know, I've spoken to the guys who've made it, Atka, really nice guys. Just love it. Next up, quite a few. I'm just going to sort of skim through these. So some of these vinyl releases I got, you may know this if you've ever brought something from Inside Out Records, but they tend to include CD releases. Like you'll get the CD in there as well, which is a nice touch. I can't say I've ever listened to these because if I've got the vinyl, then you know. But I've burned all of these. They're on my hard drive, so I'll just go through them real quick, and I suppose they're teasers for what's coming up next. So Tesseract Altered State, the instrumental version. Tesseract Altered State, the non-instrumental version. Dream Theater's Distance Over Time. Leprous' Bilateral. Leprous' Coal. Leprous is the Congregation. Pitfalls by Leprous. That's a better way to say it. And Aphelion by Leprous. You know, I do appreciate this purely because, you know, a lot of releases that you get of vinyls and that, you know, you want to listen to the CD as well, but you have to buy it separately, and can be a pain in the arse sometimes to get the CD, so I really appreciate that they do that. Right, so the next sort of few albums are ones that I've purchased recently, and then we're just going to go down. I have first off here the Mahavishnu Orchestra Original Album Classics. So this has, I could probably show you, The Inner Mountain Flame, Birds of Fire, Between Nothingness and Eternity, which is their live album from 73, I think, Apocalypse with the London Symphony Orchestra, and Visions of the Emerald Beyond. I had to check that because I always call it Valley of the Emerald Beyond for some reason, but I got this in FOP. I think it's near Leicester Square, I can remember that much. Covent Garden area. I can't remember the exact name, but you go south on Tottenham Court Road and then you're sort of there. But it's a absolutely amazing sort of compilation. I think I got it for £15. FOP is HMV's subsidiary. I think they never used to be, but they brought it out. Yeah, no, I listen to these albums constantly. I don't really like Mahavishnu after Visions of the Emerald Beyond, but Visions of the Emerald Beyond is in itself, you know, a really good album. And, you know, the live album here, especially Between Nothingness and Eternity, I strongly recommend that to anyone trying to get into this band. Certainly my favourite jazz fusion I've listened to. By far, really. Every one of these albums is good. I didn't like The Inner Mountain Flame at first, but I got into it. And Apocalypse especially is one that I only sort of really started regularly listening to recently. And the track Vision is a Naked Sword is just out there. Really good. What's next? Heaven or Las Vegas by Cocteau Twins. I also got this in FOP. It's a digipack thing. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of these releases. I suppose on one side you have the benefit of the CD jewel case not breaking, but you know, my Mahavishnu collection is like this too. It feels like I can't guarantee that the CD's going to stay sort of perfect condition in these sort of cardboard sleeves, but what am I to know? You know, this album just looks beautiful, and I'm sure I don't need to say, you know, anyone who's listened to this knows just how good this album is. The A-side, obviously you won't get an A-side on the CD, but the A-side of the first 5 tracks, I think is just dream pop, whatever, dream gaze, shoegaze, whatever the hell the Cocteau Twins are. I couldn't really tell you, but it's just them at their just creative peak, and is by proxy some of my favourite music. I love everything I've heard by them. Maybe not The Moon and the Melodies, because I think there's a few tracks on that I'm not so keen on, but I'm going to keep giving it a go. And, you know, I'd like to get more Cocteau Twins. I would really like to get this on vinyl. But when I brought the next few albums you'll see here, I wasn't really thinking about vinyl. I just wanted to get some stuff to have on CD to test out a CD player I brought. And, you know, I will get this on vinyl eventually, along with the next few things you're going to see. So next up, we've got, from the same visit at FOP, I'll tell you when that visit ends, Spiderland by Slint. Can't remember, did I break this case? No, I didn't. This is excellent. You know, I don't buy stuff I don't want to hear mostly. You'll see a few exceptions here and there, but I buy these albums because I like them, and Spiderland is no exception. This one is really interesting because both sides of the CD are like this, and can be difficult to tell which side has the data on it, but I think I've figured it out now. You know, 10 out of 10 album, just stunningly brilliant. You know, Washer, Good Morning Captain, Breadcrumb Trail, you know, Donna Man, really, really good tracks. I just get lost in them. They're so simplistic in some areas, but they create so much emotion and so much brilliance. People say this is one of the first post-rock albums. I don't know how to feel about that, but I can confirm it's a damn good album. Next up, we've got Doolittle by the Pixies, again in FOP. You know, God, it's so good, this. I didn't think this would be my sort of music when I first heard it, but fuck me, it's so good. You know, Monkey Gone to Heaven, you know, that's one of the big singles, especially in the UK, but I'm more about, you know, Debaser, Wave of Mutilation, Number 13 Baby, Mr. Greaves, Hey, Gouge Away, everything, basically everything on here apart from maybe, you know, Silver, it's just non-stop, just some of the best rock ever. I wish Pixies were still making good stuff, but I've heard like 5 or 6 songs that were released after this album, and none of them really stuck with me. I would like to get Surfer Rosa at some point. Maybe that will be a vinyl one, because that created Steve Albini's, you know, production career, basically. And, you know, it's a damn good album. Next up, and this is also a FOP, Lonely People with Power by Deafheaven. This is not the only Deafheaven release I have. I have one on vinyl. I think it's Infinite Granite. I should have gotten this on vinyl, but I didn't. This is my album of the year. Not even the shirt that I'm wearing. Look at that. Can't believe that still. We'll get onto that in a bit. But just fuck me, this is brilliant. I don't know if it's my favourite Deafheaven. That might be Ordinary Corrupt Human Love, but it's certainly a return back to their black metalish sound, and, you know, tracks like Magnolia, Amethyst, Revelator, Body Behaviour. I like the intermission tracks as well, the incidental ones. I really like those, and oh yeah, this is one of the cases that I think I broke at one point, but I fixed it. There's that. You know, Winona, The Marvelous Orange Tree. I could just list every track, really. I don't really think there's a dud on here. Maybe Heaven, but it's not a bad track by any means, just not one that I really sort of enjoy. Then here's the final one I got from FOP, Permanent Ways by Rush. This is the only Rush album that I own on either CD or vinyl. It's not my favourite Rush, I'll put it that way, but it is. Oh yeah, this case is broken. I find that CD cases are stupid easy. This one broke out of the box. If you can see there, that was like that when I got it, and it was still sealed, so I just don't know. I love this album. It sounds amazing on CD as well. Rush releases always just sound top notch, I found. You know, great tracks on it. Jacob's Ladder, Free Will, Natural Science, I think might be my favourite on the entire album nowadays. Yeah, this is the Rush Remasters version. I love basically every song on here. Maybe not, no, actually no, I can't really think of a dud. It's a great Rush album, probably my 4th favourite. I haven't got any other Rush albums, so I'll just say my favourite is If I Were to Kings, then it's probably Power Windows, then maybe Hemispheres, and then this. Hemispheres really grew on me recently. I love Cygnus 2. So there's that. That's the last one I got from FOP. The rest, we'll try and remember the stories, but if I fail, excuse me. So I'll show these four together just to sort of skim it down because they're four of my favourite albums of all time. Delouse in the Comatorium, Francis the Mute, Amputecture, and The Bedlam in Goliath by the Mars Volta. I have all of these on vinyl. I love these, to death. I couldn't tell you how much I've listened to them over the years. Mars Volta they were my favourite band before I got into Cardiacs, basically, and, I can attest that they still are up there for me. I think I got all of these on Music Magpie, which is it's a CD site. Well, they don't just sell CDs, they sell all sorts of tech things, but they sell used CDs for a good price. All of these work, and yeah, I think I'll probably explain more in depth about how I feel about each of these albums when I get onto the vinyls, just to save time. I don't want to really repeat myself too much. System of a Down self-titled. I don't listen to this much anymore. I think I got this on eBay. I would have been about 16. I don't really like Toxicity, but this is a completely different album. The sound is a lot more lo-fi. The lyrics are a bit less political, but still political in some ways, and the band just sounds like they're having so much fun. And yeah, you got whatever. I've got this on vinyl, so I'll speak more about it then. One that I don't have on vinyl, even though I should do now, On Landing in the Sea by Cardiacs. This is... My opinion's changed on it recently. I think this might be my least favourite Cardiacs album. I've sort of discovered over time I'm not so big on their... what's the best way to put it? Their sort of 80s era, but like late 80s, where their sound was mostly driven by saxophone and whatnot. I mean, there's some great tracks in this, Buds and Spawn, The Ever So Closely Guarded Line, Two Bites of Cherry, but the mid-run of this album, Fast Robert to the Stench of Honey, I could just never remember, but there are some great tracks on here, and, this is an unpopular opinion, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't prefer the album that came after this, Ever Born and Ever Bright. Still a good record, don't get me wrong. And, it's beautifully packaged. They repressed this on vinyl a few months ago, and I will get this at some point just so I can say I own every Cardiacs album on vinyl, which I still don't. I don't have A Little Man on vinyl. Or CD, actually. That's my least favourite Cardiacs album. But it's what it is. The next two are ones that I got on Discogs. I imported this one from Serbia. Neither of these albums are good. I brought them as jokes with friends. This is a Serbian new metal band, Yobo. Watch Out New Breeders Coming is the album name. So yeah, Watch Out New Breeders Coming. The second song on here, Just Do It. It was a joke with some friends for quite a while because it's one of the worst songs I've ever heard. Point blank. The lyrics are about a 15-year-old engaging in more or less rape with a 40-year-old. And it's embarrassing, it's not good. The music itself sucks, but... God damn it. It was cheap and shipping costs weren't that much, and I thought it would be funny to say I've imported a CD from Serbia for a joke. So I did. Santa Fe by Blackberry River Band. I've only listened to one song of this. I've never spun this CD. For all my rock band viewers out there, you'll remember I've Got a Feeling and Santa Fe itself from Rock Band Network. That's the only reason why I brought it. And also for the fact that I brought this on Discogs, and this was the only like there was only one person selling it, and it was in the UK, and apparently it had never been sold on Discogs. I think something like that. It was about £5, £2 shipping, I think. So this is at the start of last year, and so I just thought, why not? I get it, and then I could say I own a piece of rock band history somewhat, because I doubt many CDs were released to this. Next we've got some Dream Theater stuff. These two I don't own on vinyl, so I'm more than happy to talk about them. I don't listen to Dream Theater much anymore. I haven't really gotten into their new album, and I don't think I will. Not really my sort of thing anymore, but there's some great stuff in these, you know, Images and Words. Not my favourite Dream Theater, but this is my second favourite Dream Theater Awake. I love this album. I guess I could talk about Images and Words a bit. You know, the first album with James LaBrie has some great songs on it, like Metropolis, Learning to Live, Take the Time, Under a Glass Moon, which is one I've really gotten into recently. I think I saw that live, I don't remember. I've seen Dream Theater live twice. I got to see their first show back with Mike Portnoy, which was a really good experience. That was last year, October time, and then I saw them in February 2023 on their last European tour with Mike Mangini, so yeah. But yeah, no, I do enjoy this album, but they've done better. They won't do better anymore, but they have done better. Awake is just absolute brilliance. It's a lot darker album, a lot darker of an album. A lot of the lyrics are inspired by, you know, Kevin Moore's relationship with the band at the time. And oh, I should have said sorry. I got all of these off eBay in a bundle, I think. This one's broken as well. Forgive me for that, but yeah, you know, it's, you know, I think this was the first album that Petrucci wrote with a 6-string or 7-string, one of the two. And the Mirror has that riff, and it's like da 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 da. It's brilliant. This is the best LaBrie sound. This was right before his accident, so you know, Scarred, Voices, Lie, Space Diverse, 6 O'Clock, everything on this basically. I just love it. Next up, we've got one that I don't have on vinyl as well. Absolution by Muse. This is not my favourite Muse album, but it's a great one. You'll probably notice that this kind of looks like someone spunked on it. Apologies for that. But this CD doesn't work, unfortunately. I got this for very cheap on eBay, but I don't really care. I like this album, and there's some really great tracks on it, like, you know, Thoughts of a Dying Atheist, Butterflies and Hurricanes, which is up there with my favourite Muse songs, really. Falling Away with You, Time Is Running Out. I saw Muse live in 2023, it was a really good time. I don't know. There's something about it, I don't really go back to it. I do love Muse though. Excuse me. Got some more Dream Theater here, unsurprisingly. I'll do these 3 sort of together, because the last 3 CDs I've got left have all got on vinyl, so I'll sort of skim through them. But these I could talk about in more detail. Metropolis Part 2. This was my favourite Dream Theater for quite a while. Now I'm not so sure, but it represents the band at more or less their creative peak, I think. First album with Jordan Rudess, and it shows because, you know, some of the synths on here are just excellent. Home is my favourite, or it was my favourite Dream Theater song for a long time. Now I probably couldn't give you an answer on my favourite Dream Theater song. Over time I've come to really dislike the last 2 tracks. Spirit Carries On and Finally Free. I think that's shit. Just corny as fuck for no reason. Sorry to any fans of those. But, you know, Strange Deja Vu, Fatal Tragedy, Beyond This Life. I don't like Through Our Eyes. Dance of Eternity, I think is quite good. There's better Dream Theater instrumentals out there, but, you know, One Last Time, I just really, really, really think that, you know, there's some great tracks on it, but some massive duds, and, you know, as a concept album, it works quite well. That's whatever. Next, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. This is my favourite Dream Theater album nowadays. I think that every track on here is really good. You know, the actual 6 Degrees song is obviously great. You got Glass Prison as probably the best opener they ever wrote. Start of the 12 Step Suite, which, you know, lots of great tracks on that sort of thing. You know, great debate. I know it's not really a fan favourite, but that was the first Dream Theater song I ever really got into, aside from, I guess, Metropolis on Rock Band 4. So there's that. Just brilliant. I'll show you. Oh wait, are these ones on top of each other? I don't remember. There's CD1 at least. Oh, CD2's there. I can't remember how to open that. How do you open this? Oh, it's like this, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. I just think this is the band that, you know, lyricism was still a bit weird as always, but, you know, I like the topics that they try to explain here. Just great album. Falling Into Infinity, very controversial record purely because very label dictated, you know, some admittedly terrible songs on here, you know. What was that one? They wrote one with some pop guy, can't remember which one, it might be You Not Me. You know, this was, the band's label were trying to get them radio famous, and it obviously didn't work because they're Dream Theater. But there are some really great tracks on here, like the long ones, Trial of Tears, Lines in the Sand. Hell's Kitchen, really good. I like New Millennium. And, God, I've probably forgotten some. Burning My Soul, I think that's meant to be alright. It's also probably their best album cover. You know, they got Storm Ferguson, who did the first 2 Mars Volta records, you know, a bunch of Pink Floyd, and a few other things in my collection, I think. Yeah. Right, so these last 3, I think I'm going to do this. These last 3 I have on vinyl as well, so I'll just sort of show you them and then say a few things here and there. But after that, I'm going to take 5 minutes and then get onto the vinyls, I think. So, Octavarium by Dream Theater, have this on vinyl, you know. I do really like this album, especially the last track, but here's the CD. Origin of Symmetry by Muse, I've got this on vinyl. I don't think the CD works either. I seem to have really bad luck with Muse. But there's that. 10 out of 10 album, but yeah. And finally, Calculating Infinity by the Dillinger Escape Plan. I got this on vinyl. This will be the first vinyl that I show off. In fact, I can do this. This will be quite funny. Yeah, really, really good. Love this record, even if I don't listen to it much anymore. And that's that. So, rest of these, I will, like vinyl-wise, I'm just gonna, oh, whoops. You can just pause videos on now, I think, so I'll just do that and then get on to the meat and potatoes of it with my vinyl releases, which I'm very excited to do, but that's going to be a lot to do, so stay tuned. I'm taking 5 minutes, I'm just going to pause the video, see you in a moment. And we're back, like nothing ever happened. Okay, so once again with the vinyls, they're out of order somewhat. I just can't be bothered to put them in the right order, but you know, maybe you'll enjoy the surprise. So I think the first ones we've got here are but we'll just get on with it. So, first off, we've got Kathleen Infinity by the Dillinger Escape Plan. As you know, if you just watched the last 2 minutes. This I got off, not the Relapse Records website, but I got off some record store. It might have been on Discogs, actually. Yeah, I think I got this on Discogs. With Miss Machine and Ironworks. They repressed all 3, and I was just like, oh wow, yeah, get me on with this. So, you know, this album is just excellent with Dimitri on vocals. And I love the cover. I'll try and show inserts as well. So this has all the lyrics. And yeah, Dimitri Minakakis, I probably said that wrong. You know, just saying how good the album is. But this is just a fucking good album. And, you know, I don't listen to it that much nowadays. I do really enjoy both eras of the Dillinger Escape Plan, though I couldn't tell you which one's better. Because quite frankly, I do not know. I can't decide myself. Let's just get that back in there. And then... here's the record itself. So it's orange. Nowadays I try and buy black vinyl only, but you know, for this repress it was only coloured, so you know, you got to make do with what you do. And these albums were expensive before this, genuinely. So I was really grateful that this got repressed. And then that's the other side. Translucent, I guess is the term, orange vinyl. For Calculated Infinity by the Dillinger Escape Plan. Love it. I haven't gotten a proper sleeve for these yet, I'm just using the sleeve that came with the record, but that's fine. I will get proper sleeves eventually, when the time calls. So, I actually didn't plan beforehand where I'm going to put these records. I guess if I put them there, that's not going to... Actually, no, that's probably not secure enough. I know. I just put them there and then... there we go. And then... yeah. So... next up is Sing to God by Cardiacs, my favourite album of all time. Good timing that this was second, I did not plan for this. It's just the best album ever. Stupid cover, yeah, but best album ever. I brought this off the band's website, as I did with every Cardiacs thing I've brought. Yeah. A 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Oh, for some reason I did this with a few of the albums a while ago. I put the actual sleeves of the vinyl records in the outside of the gatefoldy bits, just because I thought it was easier to get them out. I mean, I was right, but you know. So you got all the lyrics here. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, here's the sleeves. Got a picture of the band and then the Alphabet Business Concern logo. She's on the back of my shirt as well. This is what the records look like themselves. You have the faces of the band and then their noses have been replaced with the little vinyl hole. Very good. I don't even know where to start with this. Listen to it, please. You will either love it or hate it, and that's the best part of it. Just brilliant. Yeah, you got Bob Leaf there, and then Jim Smith. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. One of my proudest vinyl ownerships, I believe is appropriate to say here. My got this when I first started getting into the band. I think it was January 2023. God, I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this album. It's my most listened to album on Last FM by like a wide margin. I don't think anything actually comes close aside from maybe Francis the Mute, and even then, you know, with the Cassandra Gemini situation on streaming, there's an argument to be made that maybe that doesn't even come close. Next up, we got an interesting one, another Cardiacs one. The original edition of The Seaside. This is an album where... This was a cassette album in 1984, I believe, and then they repressed it a few times on CD, but I think a few of the masters were lost or something. But then, I think in 2014, they found the masters. This is the best 80s Cardiacs album. It's very lo-fi, but their songwriting and just everything. A lot of the sort of redone versions of things, I think, are, you know, much better on this album, like A Little Man in the House and Is This a Life or Whatnot. So, you know, there's that. Only about 3 tracks per side, but it is a very high fidelity. You know, it's a very well pressed vinyl, and it seemed to have broken this sleeve at some point. It wasn't made very well, in all honesty, but what can you do? And there's all the lyrics there. Love it. Just absolutely love it. Yeah, that's The Seaside. Great album. You know, a really good lineup of the band there as well. You know, you got Tim Quay, Tim Smith, Jim Smith, Sarah Smith, you know, Tim's ex-wife. You got William Drake, Dominic Luckman, you know. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. If you're into like Devo and stuff like that, this is where you start with Cardiacs, in my opinion. Don't, either that or the garage concerts. Don't even attempt Sing to God at first if you prefer sort of new wave, sort of post-punk sort of thing. Go for this. You will find it a lot easier to get into Cardiacs. Oh God, just Rez, what a track. Rez was absolutely ruined on the A Little Man album. Just absolutely ruined, but you know, it's great on here. Got some Leprous up next. Cole, I got this off some website. It wasn't Discogs, it wasn't Amazon. It was Rare Waves, I think. There was a time in my life where, if you couldn't tell, I was very much into Leprous. It was around 2023 time. I don't really listen to them much anymore, but you know, for a while they were my favourite band, so I've got a lot of Leprous stuff. And that's the thing as well, over the last few years I haven't really had the money to buy vinyls as excessively as I did, say, 2022, 2023, when I was buying like a new record every week, or 2 or 3. So yeah, this album's great though. You know, you got a few duds, but Contaminate Me, Chronic, The Cloak, The Valley. It's great. So we've got these sort of sleeves, and there you go. Beautiful black vinyl. And of course, because it was an inside-out release, you saw the CD earlier. If I remember correctly, does side D of this have songs on it? Yeah. It's got Berry, which is a bonus track only for physical releases, and a remix of the song Foe. I don't think I've ever listened to side D, but, you know. do recommend this album if you like Leprous. Maybe this is their best starting point. I'm not sure really. Leprous have had, you know, so many different iterations of music over the years. You know, their new stuff, Melina onwards, is completely different. Say, Bilateral or, you know, Tall Poppy Syndrome, which is very Opethy. Great album, but, you know, they've evolved a lot over the years and that's quite commendable. And a beautiful album cover as well. Now for a less so beautiful album cover. Bilateral, I have some stories to tell with this one. I brought this album about 3 times before I actually got it. Very inappropriate album cover. But there you go. So I brought this once on... This was my favourite Leprous album at one point. It's not their most metal, but it's up there and it's got some great tracks on it. Like, and it's got one of their weirdest ones, Mediocrity Wins, which is more or less a rap song, but it works very well. Got this on Amazon at first and then the package got lost. Fine. I ordered about every single Leprous album you see here aside from like 2, I ordered in a package together. I spent about 150 quid on it like an idiot. This website called Rare Waves, I think it was, and they had this in stock on the website and then they just didn't have it. So I was like, oh, okay. So that's 2 duds, and then I got it off another website that I actually can't remember the name of, and then there you go, it was finally in my collection. But I should have just gone to a physical record store. I don't know why I didn't. Most of these you'll see I got online, which some aspects it was the only way I could have gotten them, but you know, in some ways I do kind of regret it. It would have been nice to go into physical stores and be like, oh, maybe I'll have some interesting things here. You know, there's so many bands I just want to get physical media of that I've gotten into since, you know, I've had to sort of think about where I'm putting my money as it decreases in funds. But yeah, great album this, just great album. That's what the bands used to look like, wearing masks, which very cultural. And you got sleeves here, very interesting. A very funny, there you go. They just took up bits of the album cover. This album cover was done by Jeff Jordan, who did Amputecture and The Bedlam and Goliath and Octahedron as well, I think, by the Mars Volta. I don't have Octahedron on anything. It's probably my least favourite Mars Volta album, but there's some good tunes on there. You know, same thing again. They're actually in opposite order, like the sleeves compared to what's on the side. So, you know, I guess a better way to explain it is, you know, the lyrics for the first parts of the album, side A and B, are on here, and then, you know, the other way around for whatever else. It's all very odd, but it's a good album. And then, of course, you saw the CD earlier. Yeah. I don't listen to Leprous much anymore, but I have spun this album recently when I was in an airport. And yeah, right, absolutely great. I wish the band would play more songs from this live. I've seen Leprous twice now, and I've only seen Restless in this album, which is one of the sort of middler cuts. But you take what you get, especially with a band like this. So, Leprous Aphelion, their second most recent album. I don't have their newest one, and I don't like it, so. This is a great album. My opinion on it is definitely lowered since I really got into it, and I was like 10 out of 10 best album, whatever. But, you know, there are some great cuts on it, like Nighttime Disguise, All the Moments, which doesn't really seem to be a fan favourite, but I love that track. I loved Leprous, and I still do. They're one of the best bands to see live. That's something that you might have heard before, but should absolutely see them live if they're in your area. And they tour a lot, so yeah. Just a great band. I'll show the other sleeve as well. Oh, and there's an insert. Just lyrics and that, I think, but yeah, you can sort of see things on here. Lyrics there, lyrics there, blah blah blah. And I've got credits and that, of course. This was their COVID album as well, so there's that. This was released on my birthday, actually, in 2021, August 27th. That would have been my 16th birthday. Nice stuff. And now I'm old. I'm 20 years old. That's old. I'm an old man. Not really, because I'm not a man. Right. But yeah, his C to D. A thing with Leprous as well is their vinyl releases will almost always have some bonus songs. So you got side C there, which is the end of the album, and then bonus tracks. So you got Prophecy to Trust and Acquired Taste, which is a cut from Bilateral. No. Get this back in the sleeve. Oh yeah, always protect your albums like this, by the way, if you can. There are a few which I can't, just because I didn't have enough sleeves at the time, but yeah, try to if you can, because it's very important. Yeah. Alright, so next up we got a brilliant album, Red by King Crimson. I got this off Amazon, I think. My favourite King Crimson, not the Court of the Crimson King, that's not my favourite King Crimson. This is them at their best, honestly. I've heard all the 70s Crimson albums and nothing comes close to this. Yeah, Robert Fripp promoting all the stuff he's trying to sell here. But that's what it is. This sleeve is a bit funny. Wow, it's just brilliant, stylus, you know. But, you know, Red, One More Red Nightmare, For an Angel, and even Providence, I think, is a really good track. That's a live cut that they put on there. I think it's an improv jam, but please just check this out. It's rock perfection, progressive rock perfection. And I think Red is probably one of the only instrumental tracks I've heard that just makes my mind just scream every time. It shouldn't be as good as it is. Yeah. I don't own any other King Crimson. I would like to one day. Next one is a really interesting one. Haken's Fauna. I don't have any other Haken albums. This one doesn't even have a CD. This is me being... How old have I been? 17. I was 17. I was trying to make money. This cost 80 quid and now it goes on Discog for like 300. Because this is the signed picture disc edition that you could get on their tour for 80 quid. And this was actually, this is funny, they sold this album, their tour, they had a tour between The Buried and Me, which started 2 weeks before this album's release, Fauna. And they started selling picture discs, signed picture discs of the album on tour. As a sort of thing, like, here you go, here's for the fans. So you could get this album 2 weeks before it came out. Like, it wasn't like an online shipping thing either, you could just get it. You know, you could buy it at the merch desk. Easily, Nibosh. But yeah, I'll show this off. So, I don't plan to keep this forever. I will sell this eventually. It's cool to have, but I don't listen to Haken anymore. not my sort of thing anymore. There was a point in my life where I really liked them, and this album is one of their best accomplishments. But yeah, I have like 2 other picture discs, I think. Picture discs sound terrible, as you could probably guess, but they're good to look at. Yeah, Haken are great live, but I've really just fallen out of love with their music. It's unfortunate, but in some ways I'm sort of happy that I didn't spend more money on them back in the day. Although I do have a edition of 50 poster of the Vector album art, like very limited edition, so I might sell that off eventually too in my room, which is nice to have. But I also have a Vector shirt and a Fauna hoodie, and just fuck, I kind of just, I'm a hypocrite. But yeah, there's that. I don't deserve to own this really, or the other stuff I mentioned, because I don't really like Haken anymore. I'd like to give this to, or sell this off to someone who would much rather listen to this. So yeah, maybe I'll get onto that in the next week or so. Okay, Godspeed You Black Emperor. The only Godspeed on my own. I got this in March, I think, on my way to an arcade event for a few nights, and I picked this up. Lift Your Skinny Fist Like Antenna to Heaven. It's my favourite Godspeed. Every song on here is great, but Sleep especially is, it's my favourite Godspeed song and one of my favourite songs. Just can't beat that. I've seen Godspeed live now. That's something to brag about. I saw Godspeed live last month, and they played basically their new album. It's like no title as of some date. A bunch of people are dead in Palestine, which is terrible, of course, but it's a great album. I can't remember the exact figure, apologies, but it's a very like depressingly high one, and yeah. So obviously you got 1 song per slide. So they're in the wrong order. So this is Static, and this is Storm. Storm's a great track. But yeah, and then at the end of it, for the last few songs, they played Slow Riot for Zero Kamada in full. So you got Moya and BBF3, and oh god, that was good. That was really good. I'm also glad I brought this since the band took all their stuff off Spotify. I mean, I have it all digitally. I brought it off Bandcamp, but yeah. Necessarily this then, I guess, because I presume that vinyl copies are now increased in price through resellers now that can't really string the albums anymore. God, what an album! What a band! Hypnotising live, and their projections people. I think there's 2 people that do the projections on screen. They really know what they're doing. That really helps create an atmosphere of just mood and shit. Oh, this isn't wanting to close. That's good enough. Yeah, check this album out, please. If you haven't already, and you enjoy post-rock, you need to hear this. And I guess their other albums, I do enjoy their other albums, just not as much. I guess F Sharp, Yankee, UXO, Ali, Don't Bend Descend, Slow Riot for Zero Kamada. Everything they've done really is good. Maybe not like Luciferian Towers, but still something to enjoy of that. Godspeed at State's End. And then here we have Beware the Sword You Cannot See by A Forest of Stars, a band that some of you might have never heard of. They're a black metal band that acts like Victorian characters, and they create very theatrical, very entertaining songs. Excuse me, I need to quit. Yeah. So, funny story with this one. I had to import this from Austria. Like, they're listed on Bandcamp. Their record label for this album, I guess, is Austrian, so I had to import this from Austria. And so as proxy, the vinyl is quite warped, which is annoying. But hey-o. There it is, red vinyl. I'd have thought it'd be an orange or yellow in the album, but cover on that, but whatever. Yeah, no, it is a great record. Oh, and here's the insert, which is like a little book. Oh, no, it isn't actually. Well, kind of. Hold on. Can you even... Oh, that's it. I didn't like these sleeves, so I replaced them, I think. Yeah, I got a bunch of these off Amazon, because I was worried that the sleeves were going to rip or something. I can't remember, really. But yeah. There you go. And, you know, the artwork is... I'll show you this. The artwork is beautiful. I'll show you sides 3 and 4 as well. Well, side 4 has nothing on it. It's got a cool etching, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this is a great album. Very interesting band to listen to. One that I really enjoy. Yeah. So, this side 3. And this side 4. I don't know how well that's going to come off on camera. In fact, it doesn't look like it's coming off at all, but... Google it. It's a star. It's a cool star. You may think that your side 3 is scratched to hell, but it's not. It's the markings from side 4 that sort of show themselves over through the translucent vinyl. Alright. That's fine. So, yeah. There we go. I'd like to get more Forest Stars. They're recording a new album, which I hope comes out soon. Who knows if it will. Very good. Just shout out to Blackett, because he got me into this. Alright. Oh dear. What am I doing? Apologies, give me a sec. The way that I'm trying to store these albums on the floor is clearly not working great, but fine. Oh, whoops. There we go. All right. Okay. So, here's the next sort of pile I've got. I've got 5 more piles to go through. This is going to be a long video. Here we go. Crawler by Idols. Very good album. I've only heard this once. I got this, so I used to be subscribed to a thing called Vinyl Box for a few months, where you pick a theme and then you get a few albums from that theme. I only have about 2 or 3 of these that I've kept. The rest I've given to family. It's just one of them, and then I checked it out from the vinyl and I thought, brilliant. This was easily the best thing I got through that, because it's a great album, this. If I remember correctly, it's all like indie post-punk. I just really enjoyed it. And, you know, what an album cover. So, yeah, this is printed on black, I think. A and B. I'm going to give this a spin again at some point. My actual turntable and that is still in storage, but I need to figure out how to get it back into my room so I can hear a few things that you're going to see coming up, and to revisit my old records. Right. So, we have this, and then I'm gonna show something else out of order. You'll see why. Heaven Born and Ever Broke by Cardiacs. Great album. People don't talk about this one enough. Great album. Oh my god. Every song on here is a banger. This is better than On Landing in the Sea by miles for me. This is their first album with... Oh, something's just fallen out. It's the MP3. So the Cardiacs include digital downloads of some of their albums. You can have that if you want. I've got the flags. You don't. I don't need this. How do you get this in again? Okay. So, if you know the story about this album, oh yeah, and I got this off their website, obviously. It was released in 1992, and then the record label that they released it on went out of business. So they repressed it 3 years later with this new cover, and you can see the old cover design here. It's cool. It has John Paul on the cover, but, and then here's the lyrics to Home of Fame and Splendor. The Alphabet Business Concerns, quite a great anthem. You must have learned all the words if you wish to sing along. Go. Alphabet Business Concern, I mean, what a logo. Weird thing to talk about, but I do love logos. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Goodbye Grace, Anything I Can't Eat, She's Home Behind the Shed, March, Core, Day Is Gone, everything's great. Body's Bad, For Good and All, Hell in Heaven, just all the songs I think, Snake Sleeping, what more can you want? Brilliant. You can tell I like the albums that I buy. Let's get that back in there. Quickly now, come on. Yeah, cool. Then we got... Oh, wait, I was going to show this, weren't I? Right, so in here, I haven't sorted this yet, but I will do now. I've got LSD, came out last Friday. Oh, wrong way around. There you go. LSD, I got the shirt of it. You probably know the history of this album, but you don't. Tim was working on this with Carvus, and then Tim had his accident in 2008, and then, you know, just before he passed, he started working on this again, started doing mixes and that. So, you know, it's a Tim Smith album without Tim Smith on it. So, you know, production-wise, it sounds nothing like he would have probably wanted it to sound, and, you know, it's got all sorts of vocalists on it. I think they did really well, you know. A few songs I don't really like, but I can't really claim if that's the fault of Tim's writing or how they made the album. You know, beautiful. You got side one here, all the lyrics on there. I got this in black because, yeah. I've got all my Cardiacs albums in black, so it only felt right. Yeah, I'm very glad to own this. In terms of highlights from this album, Volob, Wooden Eye, The May, Men in Bed, Busty Bees, A Roll from a Dirty Place. Skating is alright. Not huge on it, but... the tracks on here that they redid from the Ditsy Scene EP, I think, are worse on here. Unfortunately, Jen especially, to put it bluntly, they fucked it up, which is a shame. So, before I show you side B here as well, got a really nice booklet which you can get on an EPUB. I actually believe through the QR code here. It's available to everyone. Just, I think, Sean something or other from The Quietus. Is it Sean Kitchen? Yeah, Sean Kitchen from The Quietus wrote this sort of booklet. It goes into a lot of detail about how the album was made and, you know, Tim's writing process and things like that. Really interesting read. But yeah. So I don't really have a sleeve about for this, but there's always a but. I do have this, I guess that came with it to protect it. But I've been keeping it in the Royal Mail bag it came in because the Royal Mail bag is really cool. I don't want to show it because it's got my address plastered everywhere, but yeah, you don't need to know where I live. But yeah. God, I can't wait to spin this. I've got the album digitally, of course, but I can't wait to spin this. Ah. Shit. Why won't this go in? I know why. I need to squeeze it in. There you go. That's the issue with these gatefolds. But yeah. There you go. LSD. Do not take LSD. But listen to LSD. Right, now we got... Are these together yet? We got 2 albums by The Cure. Songs of a Lost World and then Pornography's down there. I'll show you in a minute. My girlfriend got me this on our second date. We went to HMV and she got me this. So thank you, Bella. Much love. I really like this album. I love The Cure. Absolutely love The Cure. And this was a really good comeback for Robert Smith. He said there's going to be 3 albums, 1 out this year. No sign of it. Come on, Robert. What's up with that? But they're touring next year, so who knows? You know, there's an argument to be made that this album's mixed like shit, and you're probably right, but the actual songs themselves, I think, work really well. There's a reason why this is so beloved. I'd love to get more Cure on vinyl, but I've only got this and Pornography. To be fair, Pornography is probably their best album. Disintegration second. Both of them are 10 out of 10, though this is a 9 out of 10. Yeah. Okay, so here we got Pornography. I got this for Christmas last year from my parents. Thankfully, my parents are Cure fans and they got me into The Cure. Otherwise, how do you say to your parents, can I get Pornography for Christmas? You can't really, can you? So, I got lucky there. But yeah, great album. Their most gothic, their most moody album. It just... So many songs on this just sound like the world ending. There's the not the insert, but there's the sleeve. And then the last track, Pornography, which is one of their most experimental. And oh my god, it just sounds amazing. This is the album I listen to when I'm depressed as shit and I want to just not cry. I don't really cry, but you know, I just want to lose my mind. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to take a very quick pause here because the postman's just been and I'm expecting something. Okay, never mind, no cigar, but I picked up a drink when I was there because if you couldn't tell, my throat is dying, so this is the most I've spoken in months and still got a lot to get through, so let's go. So, Guns by Cardiacs, got this online May 2024. This is my second favourite Cardiacs album. It's not for everyone, but I think it's absolutely stellar. We've learnt recently that Tim wrote all of this himself, pretty much. And I love this. The gatefold, it has the pictures of the band members as kids. I think it's really funny. So, yeah, there's that. And here's the insert. the actual vinyl itself. Very good album. Yeah. Yes, the album cover is admittedly quite shit, but God. It's brilliant. Love that doggy. I think that doggy's actually meant to be Laika, the Russian space dog. Something like that. Very happy to own this. Next up, we got Vespertine by Bjork. I got this on Amazon, I think. Can't remember when. This is my favourite Bjork album. I'm sure if you've listened to this album, you know what's up with it. Absolutely beautiful vocals and what have you. And the pressing itself is stunningly beautiful. So, you know, you got this here. I'd like to get more Bjork on vinyl, but, you know, when the time comes, I'm sure I will. I'd like to get the first 4. Well, the first 3 now, I guess, because I have the 4. This was released on my birthday 4 years before I was born. Fun fact. I only have one other record in this collection that I can say that about, which is I Need a Dead Scene by the Dillinger Escape Plan, which came out a year exactly after this. Oh my god, yeah. You know, one of these, side D has Bjork thanking everyone. Yeah. No, it's just a great album, this. A few songs that just make you feel like you're floating. Yeah, there's that. Very good vinyl. Like I already said earlier, the pressing was beautiful, but it sounds great as well. The record label, I think they're called One Little Indian. They did a great job with this. Oh no, sorry, it's One Little Independent. Oh no, they changed their name, didn't they? Yeah, because One Little Indian is apparently quite a racist name, so my apologies for saying it. So, next up I've got The Great Mr. X by Between the Buried and Me, my favourite BT Bam album by, you know, a large margin. And yeah, there's not much to say about it really. It's just them at their songwriting peak. If you've listened to BT Bam, you know what they sound like. You know, Swim to the Moon, Obfuscation, Disease, Injury, Madness, which I saw live last month. I saw BT Bam live again last month, and I got a picture, which was really nice. Very happy to have gotten my girlfriend into these guys as well. Well done, Bella, for liking BT Bam. She doesn't like Car Bomb though. So, there's more I need to do there, clearly. This is the 2019 remaster as well, so it sounds excellent. Yeah, that's that. Alright, next two are interesting. Oh yeah, and I got The Great Misdirection from Amazon. First off, we've got the Richard D. James album by Aphex Twin. I don't listen to too much Aphex, but I got these off Warp's website actually, and it's about £6 each, something like that. So I just insta-pressed add to cart. This was a few years ago. I was like, okay, I kind of like Aphex Twin, but if these are that cheap, you know, bloody hell. This is probably my favourite Aphex. I do enjoy it a lot. It's just really fun to listen to. I want to get more IDM on a vinyl because I'd like to get some more Tekka, some Ski Mask, definitely, and various bits and bobs. And I guess if you're into electronic, then vinyl is where you're going to get most of your stuff. So maybe that's something for me to discover. And then next up, we've got Come to Daddy. Also from Warp. So this one's interesting. This was even cheaper, and I was like, what's the catch? I didn't realise until I got it, this is missing a few of the songs from streaming. So this has only got 4 songs on it. No, sorry, 5 songs. And streaming's got like 8 songs, I think. And I really enjoy the songs on streaming that are missing, so I've only really listened to this once because of that. But yeah, this won't be the last time you'll be seeing Come to Daddy, because Dillinger Escape Plan did a cover of it with Mike Patton, and it's not very good, but it's on the I Need a Dead Scene vinyl, so yeah, when that shows up, there you go. Right, so next few are some of my favourite albums of all time. So yeah, first off, it's the Asano-Joke time. So we got Island by Asano-Joke. It's in Japanese, but it is Island by Asano-Joke. Pressed by Dog Nights Records. I got this online with a t-shirt. Which says it already, because I like to do that. It's their best album. I haven't heard the new one, actually. That's really poor form of me, because it's been out for nearly 2 months now, but yeah. What I really like about them is they have English translations of their lyrics. Obviously, you can't really sing along with the English translations, but they're nice to read. And I've met the band. I've got a picture of them. I saw them in Colchester, where there was like 30 other people, and I had a good chat with them about Rate Your Music. So yeah, this is a really pretty pressing. So you got side A and side B, you got this little blue inter thing. I guess the best way to put it. And then you got side C and D, which is orange yellow one. Cool stuff. And this is a very good album. I mean, wow, it's like happy black gaze. How do you do it? Well, that's no joke. They've told us how you do it. They've shown us. If these guys ever come to Europe again, you know, it's an Insta ticket. I'm very, very big fans of them. I saw The Grey open for them as well in Colchester, who are really on a roll right now. And then next up we've got Awakening, which I purchased at their live show at the merch table. Also pressed by Dog Notes. All of these are. Not my favourite album by them, but very good. It's their debut, full length. Still figuring out some things, I think, but That's fine. Again, the English translations. Also has Chimera on it from Ireland as a bonus track, because I think this was a later pressing. But this vinyl itself just looks stunning. Like, look at this. Hold on. Like, this splatter is gorgeous. I really like Slatter's vinyls. I wish more people would listen to this album, honestly. It's nowhere near as acclaimed as Island, unfortunately, but I honestly think it comes close. And then there's Black Splatter, and then your bonus tracks on there. So you've got Chimera, and then remixes of Spring of Passion and Thin Ice. I do think it's ironic putting, because this is quite a depressive album. It's a great album, but it's quite depressive. And then you got Chimera on there from Ireland, which is a very sort of optimistic, you know, go out there and love your life album. Go out there and love spring and summer. Yeah, there's that. And I also got a tour shirt in long sleeve, which is my favourite long sleeve shirt. I continue to wear it every opportunity I get, but today is decently warm, so not today. I could get this in there. Okay, I know how I'm going to do this. One thing at a time. There you go. And now I just need to get the actual vinyl cover itself in there. Right, and then finally, I have A Bird in the Fall. Unfortunately, I am missing Wishes on vinyl. It seems to never be pressed, or I may have missed it because I haven't really been keeping up over the last year or so. This is a brilliant, this is their EP from 2016, I believe. It might be their most heavy. It's proper, pure Banshee screaming. And it's got 2 bonus tracks, Flower Garment and Dear Coldness, which, if I remember correctly, were both released for split EPs. So it's good to have them all in one package. And here's the lyrics in English and then Japanese. I would really recommend checking this out if you like really heavy black metal stuff, but with, you know, influences here and there. If I could get this back in, that'd be good. I also just realised I'm missing a CD. I don't know where it went. Oh, I know where it went. So I have a CD of Juju by Siouxsie and the Banshees. And I gave that to my girlfriend because she only had a Greatest Hits Siouxsie CD and I thought she deserved it, so yeah. Anyways, here's the vinyl. Careful me. It looks beautiful. If I can get Wishes of the new album on vinyl, then that's basically my Asano Joke collection complete. So that's a nice feeling. Optimistic for the future of my vinyl collection. Alright, and then this pile, the final one, we're getting somewhere. Octavarium by Dream Theater. I already showed the CD of this, so I guess I'll actually talk about how I feel about this album. My grandparents got me this a few years ago in HMV in Lakeside. Oh, and Bird in the Fall was from Dog Knight's website, I think. Yeah, it must have been. So there's some duds on here, but the best tracks are some of Dream Theater's best tracks. Album cover is really cool as well, done by Hugh Syme, who doesn't make good album covers anymore, unfortunately. The insert here is really cool, if I can show you. Has all the lyrics and that. Oxyvarium title track is probably their best song, if we're being honest. Root of a Weevil I really like. Panic Attack, classic from Rock Band 2. You know, there's some shit tracks. I Walk Beside You is not very good. Never Enough is a Muse copy, but it works well enough for what it is, in my opinion. I can actually get the vinyl out. This was really expensive, by the way. This is about 50 quid. Dream Theater pressings, I suppose, before they signed to Inside Out, are really expensive. Like, unreasonably expensive, but I guess you pay for good quality because these vinyls always sound amazing. And then the other side. Just checking there's no insert in there. I don't think there is. No. So you got side C, and then side D, which simply contains the title track, as you can expect. So yeah. An album that I honestly don't know how to rate purely because of how good certain tracks are compared to others. But yeah, there's that. There's Oxyvarium, and that's the end of that pile. So we are actually getting through this quicker than I thought we would, so yay. I guess next up we go for excuse me. We go for hang on. Sorry, my vinyl collection that I'm trying to pile was got a bit haywire. Okay, we're fine. Go for this. So this is Altered State by Tesseract, as you saw. I got this for Christmas last year. Excuse me. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of Tesseract. I saw them last month at Arctangent, which is where I saw like every other band I saw live last month, and I overheard someone say they were Pesh in a Scottish accent. I couldn't agree more. Their new album I don't really like. I went to the listening party for it. But Altered State, you know, it doesn't have Dan Tompkins on it, so instantly a good album. Sorry. But it has Ash O'Hara, and I really like how they did this album. So this one's interesting because you've got actual LP itself. Here's Altered State, you know. Get a cool insert, I think. Get it out, yeah. Right, lyrics, and then cool sheet, you know. And this was, now they're just using AI for their album covers, but this is just genius, what they were doing before, you know, with all the shapes in that. Beautiful, and now they just fucking use AI. So, there you go. How the turntables. They're going from one of the most interesting metal bands in the scene to one of the laziest. Oh, shame that. But yeah, like, look at this. Like, wow. I'd love to get the first Tesseract album in vinyl at some point. Anyways, here's the here's what you're all waiting for. So that's side one, I think. Side two. Um, this is a really good album. You know, Proxy is just, like, of Matter in general. It used to be my favourite metal song, and to be honest, it's still up there. You know, Nocturne sounds great. Oh yeah, you've got another lyric sheet here. Look, more beautiful shapes. You know, what the fuck? This is stunning. Got it, get it in. And yeah, you'll get those shapes on. Yeah. So side D, I think. This side no, sorry, this is side C and that's side D. Fine. There we go. So that's all state you think. No, you know what's coming. So yeah, for some reason this has the instrumental version attached, like on vinyl, and then of course the CD. I don't really know why, but I don't plan to ever listen to the instrumental version. You know, we got this for a good price, so I'm not too fussed, but you know, same thing as before, just in black. Yeah. No lyric insert sheet this time, of course, but yeah, won't bother showing that off, but you know, it's there. Probably never listened to it, but it's a neat touch. Also, another funny thing, when I saw the band live, they had female backup singers. Do they think they're Sleep Token? Ha ha ha. They are certainly getting into a more of a that sort of sound. I really hope the next Tesseract album doesn't sound like Sleep Token. If you want your band to sound like Sleep Token, you are not going to make a good band, unfortunately. Sleep Token suck. Yeah. Right. Next up, we got one that's really special to me. This is February by Uneven Structure. My favourite metal album, probably. Can't really think of anything else. I mean, maybe, no, actually, maybe. For the record, let's just say this is my favourite metal album. It's my favourite metal album cover. I mean, look at that. That's beautiful. So, as you can probably tell by the back here, I got this on Discogs. This is probably the most expensive vinyl I've ever purchased. Not in the sense of its price that it goes for nowadays, otherwise that'd be Fauna, but in the sense of amount I paid for this. I paid about 85 quid for this, and then shipping on top of that. Purely because it's, you know, one of my favourite albums ever, and I just really wanted to have it. And they only pressed it for Record Store Day, and then, I guess, in a probably limited quantity. And this band don't really make music anymore, from what I know. So, I'm glad to have it, because it's probably more expensive now. If it's not, then that's a shame for me. But yeah. This needs to be listened to in full every time. And there's that. And it's a Gent album, I guess, but it's one of the only Gent albums I've listened to that somehow manages to create an incredible atmosphere. There's that. Side C. And this is my one gripe with the album. So, I guess this isn't really the fault of because I can understand why this is the case because of, I guess, limitations of how much music you can fit on the vinyl before the sound turns shit. But this album has three sort of sequences that are sort of split together by ambient tracks. So you've got if I can remember off the top of my head, it's been a while since I listened to this album. You've got Awaken, Frost, Hail, and then there's a ambient track there. So that's the first 4 tracks, right? And then that sort of sways into the next part of the album. So actually, I may as well just get it out and show you. This is an album I've listened to so much. So yeah, so the first 3 tracks here, Awaken, Frost, Hail, are on the first A-side. That's fine, because you could make an argument, yeah, Exmersion, the first ambient track, you could make an argument to say, oh yeah, put that on the next side because that'll swing into the next song, fair enough. And then you've got Buds, Ore, and Quittin, so the next 3 ones. And then, you know, I'd consider, like, I'd much rather they did it so Quittance is on side B as well, and then Limbo Plenitude Finale, which is probably my favourite 3-track run in history. Something like that. It's up there. I really wished that they had it so side C was that, but side C is Quittance and Limbo, so that's like 6 minutes of music. And then Plenitude and Finale are on side D. I wouldn't even mind if Quittance was side C, honestly, because that track kind of gets away with being its own thing, but yeah, just makes listening to it on vinyl a bit annoying. But I mean, I knew that when I was buying it and I was okay with it, and now I have February Sun vinyl and I've had it for a few years now, so there you go. So next we got Veil of Imagination by Wilderun. If you like Opeth, you'll like this band. They're like Opeth but more Disney. I used to love this album. This was the second album I ever bought on vinyl. Got it off Amazon, I think. And, you know, I don't really like it anymore. But, yeah, I find it to be a bit too over the top. And it's just not really my sort of music anymore. I really hate saying that, genuinely. But it is what it is. It's a really good pressing, though. Seriously. Really good pressing. And Lilith, if you're watching this, I'm very sorry that I don't like this album much anymore, but it is what it is. And then C and D here. So this is Inside Out release, or it's Century Media at least, but there's no vinyl. Oh, sorry, no CD. Which makes you think either that or because I've owned this for about 3 years now, more than that. Maybe it's a case where I did have the CD at some point, but I lost it. We just don't know. But it's fine. I haven't really listened to this in a while, and if I ever do sell off my vinyl collection, this might be one of the first, but yeah. There you go. This has taken longer than I thought it would, and I've still got so much to go through, but we're going to power through, I think. Oh, wet my throat. Alright. Next up, we got Black Future by Vector. I have the other 2 Vector albums, you'll see them eventually. Love this, I love Vector. Well, their first 3 albums at least. I know obviously the stuff happened with David DeSanto and that, but My God, this is my favourite thrash metal band, easily. I got all 3 albums on Bandcamp. So, oh, whoops, don't want that to fall out. This album came out in 2009. It's interesting to see the old photos of the band members. On yeah, this came out on Earache Records. So they're an American band, but the vinyl shipped from the UK. Though I will say, I'm not sure if this was the time I brought them, but Earache Records are a fucking ball ache to order from, on Bandcamp at least, because you wait about 2 weeks for it to ship, and then it ships, and then it's at your house the next day. Yeah, I probably won't have to order through them again, I guess, unless there's a band I really like. Maybe I want some Napalm Death albums one day, but yeah. And then this is lyrics, and then you just see lyrics in one, and then another old ass photo. One of the guys from the band is on Rate Your Music, and I think it's really funny, his profile. Yeah, there you go. Nice screen vinyl as well. When I have my record player set up, I spin these 3 albums nearly every week because they're just ridiculously good. They really get you in the mood for doing cool shit. This is probably my second favourite album from them. Terminal Redux, easily number 1. If you've listened to that album, you know what it's all about. And we got Distance Over Time. This is the best Mike Mangini Dream Theater album, and the only one that I've actually interested in buying on CD or vinyl, so I have it on vinyl. Just because it's the most original thing Dream Theater have done in about 20 years. Obviously came with a CD that you saw earlier. I got this on Amazon. I remember it distinctly because I was at work and the Amazon guy just called up because nobody was home, and for some reason he had my number. And he called up and he was like, "Where do I put this?" And I was like, "Just leave it outside." And thankfully I did not get robbed. Yeah, lyrics and cool photos for everything. And yes, I will acknowledge the album cover is terrible, but it's fine. Fine to have, really. So, yeah. People that say Mike Portnoy leaving was the reason the Dream Theater went to shit are absolute liars, because Parasomnia is not very good, and that's got Portnoy on it. So you go, sides. Of course this album cover is extremely uncreative and what have you, but the album itself is brilliant. Oh wow. Probably because they auto-tunes Labrie a lot as well, but I like the effects he has on his voice in this album. And I think it's nice that even though I'm not really a Dream Theater fan go anymore, I can still say, this is where it's at. If you want like Mangini era Dream Theater. Next we've got, okay. Got Infinite Granite by Deafheaven, the other Deafheaven album I have. I don't have Sunbather somehow. Criminal of me, I know, but I don't have Sunbather. Yeah, I know people's... I got this at HMV in Chelmsford before that shut. Rest in peace. Oh, hold on. So, here's the insert. Just lyrics and whatnot. Deaf Heaven basically go like dream pop here, I guess the best way to put it. I like it. Genuinely, I like it. But I get why people don't like it. I mean, I liked it enough to get it on vinyl. I get why it's not popular. And Lonely People with Power is the better album, but I don't think this was bad. I really don't think this was bad. And I mean, if George Clark wants to get his inspirations from Radiohead, he's more than welcome to. It is interesting though, whilst I put this back in, I'll sort of say something. It is interesting just how much this album was hated when it came out. I feel like I feel a bit of hypocrisy from myself here, because when bands have experimented and it's failed, i.e. The Astonishing by Dream Theater, you know, and I really don't like it, I'll critique them to hell, but I've always liked how the direction they went in on this album. So I don't know. Okay. We got a few Dillingers here. We got I Need a Dead Scene first off, their album with Mike Patton himself. Love Mike Patton. I know some of my friends don't, but I love Mike Patton. As he's been known by my friends as Mike Twatton. My sister got me for this Christmas 2022. It was really expensive. I think it was about 40 quid for 4 songs, which is a bit stupid, but you know, whatever. Lyric sheet. And the actual vinyl itself is beautiful splatter. This is my favourite Dillinger EP probably, so. And like I said before, this was released on my birthday 3 years before I was born. So, yeah. I mean, Patton just goes. Patton is the best fit for Dillinger, and it's funny that how much Greg Puciato, I think that's how you say it, Puciato, whatever. How much his vocals were inspired by Twatton's performance. I'm so sorry. Patton's performance. Slip of the tongue there. Not okay of me to do that. Right, so next up we got what we got next? Oh yeah, the rest of these are Dillinger. I think this is what's left of my Dillinger collection. So, Miss Machine, again got this on Discogs the same time I got Calculate Infinity and Ironworks, which we'll see after this. Probably my favourite Dillinger album, depends on the day. Either this or Dissociation. Yeah, I just love this album. Here's the insert. Oh yeah, this is all the lyrics, you can't really see them great. Don't know why I did it like that, but yeah. This is a yellow vinyl, as you'll see in a second. Like yellow. So, here you go. And I mean, this album's just brilliant. You know, Sunshine the Werewolf, Panasonic Youth. Listen to this. You have to listen to it on max volume. It's a legal requirement, I'm afraid. Baby's First Coffin, Sanctified Sleeping Giants, Perfect Design, Unrectified, which was, I think, the band's first attempt at a sort of popish song. I guess that and Setting Fire. It's very good. They do more of that on Ironworks. If you've heard that, you'll know that. I really should be getting proper sleeves for these at some point, but one day. iWorks. Again, you know how I got this. Great album. You know, much more poppy in some tracks, and then some tracks are just normal. Rest in peace, Brent Hinds. He was on a Horse Hunter. Mouth of Ghost is a great ending. You know, the middle part of this album, from like Sick on Sunday to 82588, is different sort of beast. You know, much more electronic, much more interesting. You know, experimental. And you got, you know, Milk Lizard, another pop song by them. And yeah, I wonder if I can actually get this insert out and stop getting distracted, so that'd be nice. So there you go. This whole album's like theming is really cool. Like, I love the album cover. And then the vinyl is blue, I believe. Yes, it is. So they also played, you might have seen this on YouTube, Black Bubblegum, which is a great song. They played it on Conan, I think. One of those late night shows. It might have been Conan. Yeah. So there's that. Alright, finally, Dissociation. I got this Record Store Day 2022. I think this was a great decision by me. This is, you know, depending on the day, my favourite Dillinger album. Just raw, anxious. You know, the way they recorded this was really cool as well. Just every song on here is great. And, you know, this is their final album, you know, final shows, whatever, and then we all knew that was a fucking lie. You know, Limerent Death is just a brilliant opening. And then here's the vinyl. Gold. Yeah, they're touring again with Dimitri with the old songs, and it's not looking good. Yeah, Greg's off doing his own thing. He's got that new band now with the Every Time I Die guys. Better Lovers. Fair play to him. Genuinely. Yeah. And yeah, that's like, you probably can't see that, but it's the Dillinger Escape Plan logo etched into side D there. Yeah. I don't know if they'll release another studio album, I doubt it, but, you know, live-wise, you know, they're off doing their own thing, and I probably wouldn't see them. I've seen Greg live, he's very good. I saw him solo live, but, yeah. Oh, shit. Where did this go in? Right, that's the end of that pile. Well done, me. So, what should I do next? I'll do this one. One moment. Okay. So, here we go. Start of Mars Volta. Amputecture. Their second best album. Every song on here is great, sans maybe like a Sealos, and yeah. An interesting one. I'm actually not huge on Viscera Eyes these days, but that was the first song on this album that I really got into, but you know. It's also positioned, so this is the front, which is interesting. Here's the lyrics. I mean, you know, Vicarious the Tetragrammaton is maybe the best thing the band ever did. That sort of swayed into those two songs. It's some of the best writing, easily. And I just love it. I just love the Mos Volta, you know. My favourite band for years and years. I've seen them live in 2023. They haven't toured the UK since, I think. But yeah. Wow. You know, if there's any Mos Volta album to listen to, it's probably not this one first, but you know, you should definitely check this one out. Get it folded on Radio Music too, please. It should be any week now that happens. There you go. Day of the Baphomets, you know, Mecha Amputexture. Some of the best music ever. What's next? Oh, and for all of these, I got them off Cloudsill's website. Cloudsill are the record label that Mos Volta are working with now, and they repressed all the old stuff, which is really cool. And yeah, I did a massive order on Cloudsill 2023-ish. And yeah, you know, managed to get everything on there. Right, so next up is I Let It In and Took Everything by Loathe. I got this off, it would have been Discogs, yeah. A 10 out of 10, probably another one of my favourite albums, yeah. One of my favourite metalcore albums, I mean. I've seen Loathe live now, they're great. And you know, the album's cover and design is really cool. So this vinyl looks like this. I can't wait to see what Loathe do next. Whatever that ends up being. There's so many, every song on here is really good and feels original, which is difficult to say in the current metal landscape, but every song they do on here feels original. You know, there's a lot of Deftones influence, which is cool. I like Deftones, even if I don't have a single Deftones album on vinyl or CD, which I need to change at some point, but it won't be today. Or tomorrow. Alright, so I got this. I remember getting this actually on the same day that I got the Warp Records Aphex Twin albums, and it was like, so it's very rare to get post delivered on a Saturday where I live for whatever reason, and postcard came like 8 o'clock Saturday morning. I was the only one up, so I answered the door and he notices that they're vinyls, so we have a fucking chat about vinyls. And apparently he knew that there was Warp Record stuff in there. I don't think he opened it. I think there was some sort of label on the outside, but yeah, that's always really cool to see. What's up next? Oh, here we go. Some more Leprous. Pitfalls is the best Leprous album, probably. It's like art pop, very anxiety. Like, I think the lyrics are about anxiety and depression that I just saw went through. I really like this album. It speaks to me, and you know, it's nothing like the metal albums, yes, but in some ways, I think that's its genius, that they're able to sway into this sort of music, you know, so well. That's part of the charm of Leprous, really. And, you know, they do it in such a way that you'd think they'd be making, like, art poppy, art rock stuff for their entire life. So, here it is, there's side B and there's side A. Did it in the wrong order. I keep doing that, I don't know why. Maybe it's the way I'm storing these. I just don't know. So, can't remember, just side D. Yeah, side D's etched. So this is side C. It doesn't have bonus tracks, that's rare for Leprous finals. So there's side C, and then there's side D. You could actually kind of see it, that's the album cover, sort of etched on. I really like that. Congratulations, team. No, this is a great album though. I strongly recommend. And of course, CD. You see me get that? Okay, so what's that? There's like a few more Leprous. You'll see what I mean. In terms of a track I'd recommend on that album, actually, I feel like that's worth saying. Sky is Red, of course, but check out Distant Bells. I mean, that song just has a brilliant climax. Okay, so this needs some explaining. This is Leprous Live 2023. This is... Okay, I'm sort of assuming you know a bit about Leprous here, but they released a deluxe edition that they branded as the tour edition of Aphelion around 2023 time when they were sort of wrapping up the tour for it. And that included, I think it's, 6 live tracks. Oh, sorry, it's Live 2022. So, I mean, these are not all tracks from the album, but some of these tracks, most of these tracks are actually from older albums. So, you know, the only tracks from this album are here, are Out of Here and Nighttime Disguise, that album being Aphelion. So, they decided to not do a tour edition vinyl, I think, but just do this. So they repurposed the live tracks into this. I saw Leprous live. So I'm just going to be honest, I only got, this looks like toothpaste, or mouthwash even, sorry, which I think is quite funny. I only got this because it came with a really cool shirt, and it wasn't much more expensive, so I thought, yeah. This is when I was trying to buy, like, everything Leprous related that I liked, so, you know, bit of a cop-out that I got this, but whatever. And now I own it, and I've never actually spun it because of that, but I saw Leprous live February 2023. I know what they sounded like then. They actually played all those songs when I saw them live, so, you know, they didn't record the show I was at, because this is Live 2022, but, you know, I knew what I was getting. Alright. Congregation. Last Leprous album, sort of, you'll see what I mean. This was my favourite for a very long time, and I mean, it is a great album. Just look at that track list full of Leprous classics. Rewind to the first Leprous song I ever got into. Still one of the best. Favourite on here today is probably Slave. But, you know, it's a brilliant album, this. Bonus track in this Pixel is actually one that I really like. I wasn't really expecting much, but I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. So you got side A there, side B. You know, there's some songs on there I'm not too keen on, like Triumphant, Lower, Red. Red I'm really not keen on. Moon is good actually. But yeah, the great tracks on here like The Price, Third Law, you know, Slave, Moon, Down. Over My Fence is another really good one that not many people talk about. Flood is pretty good. Not the Take That song. Just wanted to clarify. Holy moly, if I could get this back in, I'd be a genius. There we go. And yep, CD again, you already know. Come on. So there you go, you got side C and D here. So. Side C, side D with the bonus pixel, which is actually a big tune. Wasn't expecting that. Yeah. Really wasn't expecting that. Right. Oh, low. Right. So that's that. Congregation is great. Maybe their most rhythmic album, actually. I'm not sure. It's definitely up there. They go into these sort of like, on quite a few of the songs, they go into these long, really interesting time signature jams. And they all sound pretty good, but yeah. Right, next up is one that I've never actually heard either digitally or what, and that's 16 by Ina Solberg. This came out in 2023. Again, I was obsessed with Leprous. I brought everything Leprous I could, including Ina's first solo album that I still haven't heard. Oh dear. I'll show it off though. It's probably good, but I think I heard the singles. Yeah, I heard the singles and I thought they were alright. Yeah. I think this came with a CD. I don't think I've... Okay, give me a second. I don't think I've ever actually opened this, and that maybe says a lot about me, so forgive me. This is when I had too much money. Right, inserts, and maybe a CD. I actually don't know. No CD in there. But here's the lyrics book. I mean, this was on Inside Out, I think, so... Yeah. I'm sure this is good, and I will listen to it. But this was me just wanting to support Leprous in whatever way I could, and apparently this was one of the ways I chose to. No CD? Okay, that's fine. I genuinely thought there was a CD in here. Unless it's over there and I'm just brain fogging. Right, so the colour of the album is yellow. So there's side A, there's side B. Same image on both sides. Is that... No, they changed the image up for C and D. Apparently they only had 2 images to work with. So... yeah, I guess you make do with what you have if you're creating the packaging for 16 by Ina Solberg. I know Ishan is on one of these songs. He was also on Contaminate Me from Cole, and that is a stellar performance. So, you know, there's that. I'm sorry, there must be a CD in here. I guess there isn't, but I'm just really surprised by that. Yeah, no CD. Not disappointed, just surprised. Okay. Right. Anyways, yeah, I got that off the Inside Out website, just like Live 2023. I would like to see... I saw them live last month, but I'd love to see Leprous live again. Alright. Oh. Okay. Right. Good. So here we go. Here's Brain Salad Surgery by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. An album I don't really like. No, the first side is not great, but I think there's some charm to it. You know, Carnival 9 and what have you. This is a picture disc. I got this, I don't remember, I might have gotten this off... No, I'll tell you where I got this. Record Store Day 2023. I got it off Banquet Records website, I think, along with something else that I can't remember right now, but when it shows up I'll tell you. Dear God, the next vinyl, the sleeve is in terrible condition. That's not good. Yeah, it's cool to have. It is genuinely cool to have, but I mean, come on, I can't pretend like I really enjoy Emerson, Lake and Palmer because I think they're dreadful. But it was quite cheap and it was nice to look at. Right, so next up is Blackwater Park by Opeth. Not my favourite Opeth album, actually. That would be... Actually, no, it might be my favourite Opeth album. I don't know. Their new album definitely isn't my favourite. I wasn't huge on it, but My Arms, Your Hearse might be my favourite by them. Lots of good Opeth albums, though. I'm going to say that. Yeah, I got this, the HMV in Milton Keynes. Me and my family were in Milton Keynes, and then I purchased this. You know, I go to Milton Keynes very regularly to visit my girlfriend, and there's a little blurb on there from Michael Phillips, whatever the hell. Yeah, this is a nice white vinyl. This was £50, by the way. That's too expensive, HMV. Sort it out. This was also 3 years ago, so I don't think they care. Wait, no, sorry. This would have been... Fuck. What year would this have been? No, this would have been 4 years ago. No, sorry, 3 years ago. My apologies. I'm getting dates wrong in my head. Because I distinctly remember where I was, like, time-wise of my life when I brought this. Just can't remember the year. Yeah. I mean, this is just a beautiful album, and, you know, The Drapery Falls, Blackwater Park, Funeral Portrait. Every song on here is a banger, really. Bleak especially. And, you know, Stephen Wilson produced. Wait, did he produce this one, or was that Deliverance Damnation? Let me see, does it say? I probably said in the thing. I know he produced... I was also a very big Porcupine Tree fan at one point in my life, which you will see in a bit. Foreshadowing. Yeah. Very good album. Yeah, I remember the price tag on it because I was just shocked. I still paid for it though because, yeah, I like the album. If you don't, then fair play to you. You may not be into Opeth. Right. So next up, Periphery 5, Gent Is Not a Genre. I got this at the HMV in Westfield, White City, near Shepherd's Bush. My friend Jarvis, he came over from Denmark to UK, and excuse my stimming. We walked about because we were seeing Polyphia that night, which was not a band I'll see again, let's put it that way. But we went to HMV that morning and I picked this up because it was pretty cheap. I think it was about 30 quid, which was good. I was more than happy to pay that. So I did. And here we are. I don't know what to say about Periphery because I loved this album at one point and now I don't. And I don't know what my favourite Periphery album is. And yeah, but there's some good tunes on here. Some really good tunes, but I'm rapidly falling out of love with that sort of metal. Sounds like a few examples, like February. So side A, that's side B. And yeah. The song Silhouette on here is shit. It's like, and a big like a big problem on this album is every track has like this ambient ending that sometimes fits, sometimes doesn't. The best track on here, Draculgrass, which means Fat Dracula. It has like no sorry, what was I saying? The ending on it. Alright, here's side D. Sorry, C. Here's side D. The ending on it. Oh, so it's Purple Banana. That's cool. Yeah, the ending on Draculgrass is completely out of place and kind of sucks, and it just kind of ruins it because it's the last 3 minutes. But yeah. That's that, I guess. Next up, we got some Mars Volta. Nocturnicate, a very underrated album, an extremely underrated album. I can see why people don't like it. It was recorded in a time of conflict, so I think the whole album, Sans vocals, was recorded like 3 years before it was out, and then vocals were done very lazily by Cedric, but it's a very noisy album. You know, very, very noisy, very loud. It dwells into, it kind of reminds me of the Flaming Lips' noise pop albums in some parts, but it's really good. I think people shit on it too much. Like, yeah, the first track, The Whip Hand, is really silly, but you know, nothing wrong with a bit of silliness. Oh, and you get this with it, which is like a little poster. I need to put this on my wall. Maybe I won't. And also it has some of the most unique drumming in their discography. Dean Tony Parks. I mean, just listen to the album and you'll see what I mean. He's the most interesting drummer they ever had. You know, you got what's the guy's name? The guy's now in Queen of the Stone Age. Can't remember his bloody name. I was about to say Frusciante, but it's not. Frusciante played drums on. He did all the guitar tracking for Architecture, though, from what I know. Sounds maybe like a few solos. Theodore, that's it, John Theodore. He did the first 3 albums. Great drummer, very precise. And then Thomas Pridgeon for Bedlam and Octahedron. You know, just absolutely ape shit drumming. You know, in terms of speed, he's the best they ever had. And then you got Dean Tony Parks, who just, he's a rhythm machine. I don't really understand how he does it. You know, he's playing in, you know, things that I could never count. Maybe that says a lot about me. Maybe I'm stupid. There's a band there. There's that there. They broke up just after this was released, I think. Or maybe on like a European tour. But now they're back and they're making different music. Let's put it that way. Different music. This album sounds great on vinyl, by the way. It's very well mastered. You know, I couldn't pick a specific track from this. They're all great. Aside from maybe like Trinkets, Pale of Moons. There was lyrics on the other side, of course, but was there? I don't know. But yeah, they're typed in a weird way where there's sort of a shadow under each one, which creates a cool illusion, admittedly. So there's that, side C, I guess, and there's side D. If it's not obvious, my energy's starting to run out. We've still got a decent chunk of stuff to go through, but we're well over the halfway point now of this. So forgive me if I sort of miss out stuff. because I am sort of rapidly losing my will to do this, but I'm obviously going to finish it. So it's as easily going to be the longest video I ever upload as well, probably. I can't really think of anything else I've ever uploaded this long. And I'm surprised that my phone is actually able to do this. Really hope it doesn't run out of storage halfway through. I doubt it will though. Okay, so next up we got what used to be my favourite album of all time, Francis the Mute, by Mars Volta. Yes. Every second of this is perfect. It's my second favourite album of all time, probably. I can't even explain it, just how good this album is. It's a triple LP. I got this again in that big order. So it's a triple LP, so let me sort of try and show you this as well as I can. And then this. So you've got, oh God, how do I do this? So this is Cygnus and the Widow, I think? Yeah, okay. This is Cygnus the Widow on one side and then Elvia on this side. Elvia, an absolutely massive tune, by the way. This album just needs to be listened to be understood. It's perfect. It's, I think I'd argue, the peak of progressive rock. Like, decades of experimentation and that just led to this. But maybe that's a bit blasphemous to say against lots of other bands. But, you know, that's how I've heard the album described before. And so that's how I'm going to do it. Right, I cannot figure out, forgive me, I'm going to assume that this is side C and D. So yeah, that's Elvia and that's Miranda. Alright, so yeah. Side C is Miranda and then side D is the start of Cassandra Gemini. Being a 33-minute song, you know, it needs more than one vinyl. I think it uses 3 vinyl sides actually. So now I figure out how to get this out so I could show you. There we go. So there we go, Cassandra Gemini stuff. And yeah. Right. So yeah. Okay, so this side is etched, as you can see. And then this is the other part of Cassandra Gemini, so it only takes up 2 vinyls. Yeah, I'm very glad to have this. This is my most listened to vinyl album, actually. It's just been a while. So, yeah. Right, so next up we got Francis the Mute by the Mars Volta. Let me explain. Record Store Day 2023? Was it 2022? One of the Record Store days. They dropped this. So this is the song Francis the Mute by the Mars Volta. Not the album, the song. The song title track, meant to be on the album, meant to be the first song, but didn't happen. So they released it as a single instead, and it is a brilliant song. Starts about 4.5 minutes of ambient droning, which, you know, gets louder and louder and will probably turn people off, but the actual song itself is beautiful. And I'm glad that I have it on vinyl now. And then the B-side is a live version of The Widow which has a really funny vocal effect in the chorus. Oh, and this also plays at 45, which is interesting. In some aspects, you know, you don't need to hear this to enjoy the album. Cygnus works as a great opener, but I tend to put this in front of the album. I mean, on my personal copy, on my DAP, this is in front of the album. And I've heard this song just as much as the others, which is in the hundreds of times. Why is this difficult to get in? Okay, let's see what's going on here. Oh, that's right. Right, fine. That's right. Right. Is there an insert in this? No, there's not. You don't have the lyrics anywhere, I think. Yeah, you can get them online. Oh wait, no, I think they're actually in the actual album's inserts, which is funny. So yeah, it really was meant to be on there. And right, so next up, oh yeah, we got the debut, Deloused in the Comatorium, famously produced by Rick Rubin, who produced like Rain in Blood by Slayer and lots of other things, and Death Magnetic by Metallica, which you should not listen to because it sounds like shit. Yeah, this album's incredible. How am I meant to open this? Like this, I guess. Every song on here is fucking excellent. Maybe not Drunk Ship of Lanterns. I infamously hate that song, but I don't anymore. Yeah, you can't beat it. I mean, you can beat it. They've got better albums. This is maybe my third favourite album from them. It's their most post-hardcore because they've just come out about the drive-in, and yeah, they've still got some of those elements, like Area Katara is quite post-hardcore-y. Take the Veil has some post-hardcore bits. This Apparatus Must Be Unearthed. Interreactic, or however you say it. Also shouts to Cicatrice. That is a crazily good song. And yeah, I'm gonna try and get through these a bit quicker. I actually find it more difficult to talk about music I love compared to music I hate. Does anyone else feel that? Like music I hate, I guess it's easier to dissect what you dislike about it and find valid reasons to dislike. But with music I love, a lot of the time I just love it, just for what it is. I don't need to analyse it to respect it. Or, I suppose in the case of music I don't like, analyse it to further prove my disrespect of it. Oh, sugar, sorry. There we go, right. And here we go, last time with this poll, Bedlam and Goliath. This is their most frantic album. Not definitely helped by Thomas Pridgen on drums. It's a great album though, you know. Goliath, Cavaliers, Metatron, Illyana, Super Saiyan, which Blackett doesn't like because he's doesn't like it, I guess. Ouroboros, you know. Maybe not Tourniquet Man. Tourniquet Man's a bit shit, but yeah. So let me open this up because there is an extra surprise in here. Just put that to one side. There's that. Which has things on it. It has the alphabet in reverse. I just realised that. Very clever. So this is Mr. Muggs, which is like, I don't really know why this is here. It's a 3-minute organ song pressed onto both sides of this vinyl here. It has no real, from what I know, it has no real meaning, no real distinction. I don't really know why it's here. But it's there, and they give you it when you buy the vinyl. So yeah, and alright, here we go. Brilliant stuff. Maybe I shouldn't be showing some of this cover art on YouTube, so I have to be very careful. But this video is not made for kids. It's made for everyone. I've listened to this album so much. It is just top notch. Yeah, there we go. So it's done. No. I wish it was done. Still got 2 stacks to go through, one of which I can probably skim through, kinda. There's all the Mars Volta stuff done. I think, yeah, that'll be all the Mars Volta stuff done. If I just move all these albums back. And then get started on the next pile, which is here. So we got the last 2 Vector albums that I couldn't show off earlier. Terminal Redux first off, my favourite by them. I got this long before the other 2. I think I got, this was like the 3rd vinyl I ever bought, I think. No, it was either that or Dissociation. Can't remember which. But yeah, it looks beautiful. And, oh, that's definitely not a concerning noise. Here's the insert, which I can't get out, so I fear that it might be fucked. Nope, we're good. Kind of. Yep, here's the lyrics and everything. Maybe I just put this in wrong before. I haven't opened this in a while. But yeah, so here's side A, here's side B. Just a brilliant album. It sounds great on vinyl too. Just some of the best thrash metal, and it's a concept album, which always gets bonus points from me. There's no duds really. It's just thoroughly beautiful album. It's honestly rather impressive that bands are able to make, like, their other 2 albums are great, don't get me wrong, but they just transcended here. Okay, I know what the issue is. The piece of paper keeps slipping in the middle. There we go. Now it's not making that noise. And here we go. So here's side D, C, V, and here's side D. Recharging the Void is an unbeatable song. I think it's the best one they've ever written. Including Charging the Void. Charging the Void is a great song too. Once I get my record player set up again, I'm definitely going to give that a spin. No doubts about it. I have a headache from hearing my own voice too much. That's quite funny. Alright. I'm going to take another quick break, so in a sec.